He's known as America's accountant, Dan Geltrude. It is the Dan Squared Show. Dan times two. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Dan. How are you?
Well, as you could tell, a little miffed, because you and I are probably of that era, and I would assume 98% of our viewers at OAN probably are of that time where in America, if you wanted to earn a living, you earned it, meaning you went out and applied, you got a job, you put in 40 plus hours a week, and that was your paycheck. We didn't have to pay people to go back to work. And I know, I saw a recent interview of yours, and I want you to kind of expand on this. Federal government really wants that $15 an hour minimum wage, but it's not going to get passed through the Senate. So what does it look like they're doing then in reverse? Because I know you know exactly what's going down.
I certainly do. So let's start with this. Unemployment benefits are supposed to be a safety net. That's not supposed to be a career option where you actually decide, well, you know what, I'll just have the government pay me and that's the path I'll go down. But what seems to be happening here, for those of us who are a little skeptical, Dan, is to say, could it be that they're offering these extended unemployment benefits to force businesses to have to pay more? In effect, federal government goes into competition with businesses, especially small businesses, to get them to pay more. And therefore, you backdoor the minimum wage issue.
Thank you.
What do you think?
I've been saying it for weeks to my crew here, and I saw something, you said it just the other day, and I went, that Dan gets it. Please book him on the show so he'll tell everyone out there. Again, I think the majority of our viewers on this show and this network probably already get that. Maybe they didn't connect the actual dots, but you know, we realize this $15 minimum wage thing that the Biden administration is pushing federally, it's not going to go through. So to me, it just made great sense. Well, you've got your unemployment, and we're giving you 500, 600, whatever it may be, depending on which governor. They're giving you more. It breaks down then to 12, 13, 14, 15, whatever it may be, bucks an hour. Why would you want to go back to that waitressing gig or that whatever at 11 bucks if you can sit at home and make 15?
Can't blame people for that, Dan.
Well, I can,
listen,
because I was taught to work for my money. But anyway.
Well, I agree with you, but look, they call that part of the American Rescue Plan. You see, this is a rescue.
Right.
It's not a handout. It's
right.
a rescue.
Right. Well, that's when businesses weren't allowed to open. But now everything's opening back up. We can take the masks off, which I never wore those anyway. Then what are we doing? It's exactly what you just said. Why else would they be incentivizing? And give me your thoughts on what that Republican governor did, because I like that he's saying he's going to end all of these payouts, these bribes, in June, but then he's given them money to go back to work. $1,200 for the first 20,000 that go get a job. What?
Well, listen, I think that has the stamp of desperation all over it. Again, when you're competing, Dan, with the federal government, you got to look at it this way. They have unlimited resources. Remember, they can print their own money. That's pretty tough competition. So I view it as whatever these governors have to do state by state to get people off the federal bandwagon and get them back to work, then let's try it and let's get past this issue.
Dan, who made out? We all know, but let's be real. Who made out? Because you're talking about hundreds of thousands of small businesses that shuttered their doors for good. They're not reopening in Michigan and California and New York and these states that did lockdown since last March. They're done. Goodbye. The American dream, poof. I heard a number, 30,000 restaurants in California alone. And yes, some of those were corporate ones, but the majority were mom and pops. So let's be real. Who made out like a bandit during the last 15 months of these lockdowns?
Well, big business, of course. These corporations, Dan, have had their competition wiped out. Small businesses employ half the people in this country. Half the people. So if you put them in a position where they can't hire people because they can't afford to pay them because they're competing with the federal government, everyone else goes away, and what's left? Big corporations. And ironically, isn't that who the administration is saying they're targeting the big bad corporations. Funny how they've aligned themselves kind of behind this smoke screen, shall we call it. So big business and the Biden administration are working hand in hand in this.
Yeah, Dan, would you consider this, because I do, an assault on small businesses from the left in this administration?
Oh, absolutely it is, because it's an attack on the heart of capitalism. If you think about the American dream, what is that? Go out, start your own business, be your own boss, decide your own destiny, work as hard as you possibly can with no limitations, right? That's the exact opposite of socialism, which is the agenda that's being pushed, right? Socialism, by definition, means the economy is controlled by the government, not the free market. And if we were to turn things over to the free market, meaning let the small businesses do what they need to do, and all they're asking for, Dan, is a level playing field.
Right.
Just give them that equal opportunity to make it, and then let it go from there. I think they'll do really well.
You know, the final question I have for you, it's something I've seen too. We talked a lot in the last couple of weeks, Dan, about inflation. We know gas prices are skyrocketing before the pipeline got hacked, but gas prices were already skyrocketing. Gallon of milk, your red meat, everything is going up. Look at the timing of that too. So you have inflation, which gives then the left an argument to say, well, inflation, but your salaries aren't keeping up. You got to demand that $15 an hour because look how much stuff's costing. Well, it wasn't costing that much just 5-6 months ago under the Trump administration.
Well, listen, whether you like Donald Trump or not, let's put that aside and let's simply look at what happened from a policy standpoint. Pre-pandemic, we had the greatest economy in memory, right?
Yep.
That no one can refute that. The Democrats knew if they had to go up against Trump based upon the strength of the economy, they lose. So the only option there was to basically somehow take down the economy. And could it be more convenient than to have a pandemic appear in an election year? Literally, that was the only thing that could stop the train, this economic train, from moving forward. So now we close everything down. Okay, let's even assume that was for the right reason, and I'm not saying it was. Let's say
it wasn't. Now, but go ahead.
but now let's make sure it doesn't recover by implementing the policies that worked in the past.
Right, because then it proves the previous administration right. So we got to literally undo all those policies. Inflation skyrockets. Small businesses crash. It's just big box stores, big corporations who fund these crooked politicians, yes, on both sides of the aisle, and we, the American people, take it up the you-know-what. You can tell I'm a little fired up, Dan, and I'm getting sick and tired of it, and we're only on 100 and how many days of this administration. Pretty crazy. So we all better buckle up and be ready to fight back. America's accountant, Dan Geltrude, thanks for coming on the program, man. We'll see you real soon. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Dan.
Yep. Speaking of small businesses, the new